Sometimes darkness hides behind a friendly smile or a helping hand. Not everyone who enters your life has good intentions. Some people wear a mask of charm, only to reveal their true nature when it's too late. These are the individuals who manipulate, deceive, and take advantage of your trust. Recognizing them is not just important, it's essential to protecting your peace, your confidence, and your future. Today, we're diving into a topic that could change the way you see the people around you. It's not about creating fear, but about opening your eyes. The signs we're about to discuss are clear, but often overlooked. They're subtle, creeping into your relationships, friendships, and even your workplace. And if you're not paying attention, these red flags can grow into patterns of harm that disrupt your life. Think about the people you trust, the ones you let into your circle. Are their actions always in line with their words? Do they build you up, or do they quietly tear you down? The truth is, evil intentions rarely announce themselves. They hide in compliments, excuses, and promises that don't match reality. They thrive on confusion, manipulation, and control, making it difficult to see them for what they are. This isn't just about spotting obvious villains. Sometimes the signs are so subtle that they feel like misunderstandings or harmless quirks. But when you put the pieces together, the truth becomes undeniable. This is your chance to learn what those signs are, to protect yourself from the harm they bring, and to reclaim your power in every relationship. The goal here is not to make you suspicious of everyone, but to empower you with knowledge. With these 6 clear signs, you'll be able to recognize when someone's intentions aren't pure and take the steps needed to safeguard your emotional and mental well-being. Each sign reveals a layer of manipulation, deceit, or harm, and understanding them is your first line of defense. So, are you ready to uncover the truth? Are you ready to step into your power and shield yourself from those who might wish you harm? Let's dive in together, one sign at a time, and learn how to protect the most valuable thing you have, your peace of mind. Let's begin. 1. Excessive flattery. Evil people always use flattery as a cover for their true intentions. They want you to trust them, rely on them, and feel good around them so they can take advantage of you later. People who don't have good intentions use excessive flattery as a tool. On the surface, it might seem like they're just being nice or appreciative, but when compliments feel over the top or insincere, it's worth paying attention. When flattery is used too much, isn't always genuine. It can be a tactic to manipulate or gain control. Imagine someone who constantly tells you how amazing you are. They might say things like, "You're the smartest person I've ever met," or "I don't know how I'd survive without you." At first, it feels good to hear these words. Everyone likes to feel appreciated. But over time, you might notice that their compliments don't feel real. They seem exaggerated, or they repeat the same phrases over and over, almost like they're trying to convince you of something. For example, let's say you're at work and a colleague keeps complimenting your ideas. They say things like, "Your presentations are always the best," or "You're the reason this team succeeds." At first you feel proud and happy, but then they start asking for favors, small ones at first, like helping with a task or covering for them during a meeting. Over time, their requests grow bigger, and you realize that their flattery was just a way to get you to do what they wanted. These people use excessive flattery to create a sense of obligation. Imagine a friend who keeps saying, "You're the most generous person I know." You might feel pressured to lend them money or do favors for them, even if it makes you uncomfortable. This is how they use your kindness against you. Flattery can also be a distraction. If someone has bad intentions, they might use compliments to keep you from noticing their true motives. For example, imagine someone who keeps telling you how beautiful or talented you are while secretly spreading rumors about you or taking advantage of your trust. The compliments keep you focused on their nice words, so you don't see the harm they're causing. It's important to understand that not all compliments are bad. Genuine praise comes from a place of truth and care, but when compliments feel excessive, fake, or manipulative, it's a red flag. A person with good intentions doesn't need to constantly remind you of your worth. They show it through their actions, not just their words. Recognizing this tactic is the first step to protecting yourself. When someone's words seem too good to be true, it's okay to take a step back and ask yourself what their real motives might be. 2. Consistent lies. People with evil intentions lack integrity and often rely on dishonesty to hide their true motives, manipulate others, or gain an unfair advantage. While everyone might tell a small lie now and then, someone with harmful intentions lies frequently, often without any reason other than to confuse or control those around them. When someone lies consistently, it creates a web of deception. You might notice that their stories don't add up, or that they contradict themselves over time. For example, imagine a co-worker who claims they've completed a task when they haven't. At first, it might seem like a one-time mistake, but when this behavior happens repeatedly, it becomes clear that they're deliberately lying to avoid responsibility or shift blame onto others. Evil people use lies to manipulate situations in their favor. For example, in relationships, they might lie about their past, their intentions, or their feelings to gain your trust or keep you from leaving. Imagine being with someone who constantly tells you, "I'm working late," or "I was just with friends," only to later find out they were lying about their whereabouts. These small, consistent lies build a pattern of deception that erodes trust and creates confusion. One of the most damaging aspects of consistent lying is how it affects your sense of reality. When someone you trust lies to you repeatedly, it can make you doubt your own memories or instincts. For example, they might say, "I never said that," or "You're remembering it wrong," even when you're sure of the truth. This tactic, often called gaslighting, is a favorite tool of those with evil intentions. It allows them to maintain control while making you feel powerless. Lying is also a way for them to avoid accountability. Imagine someone who always has an excuse for their bad behavior. If they hurt your feelings, they might lie and say, "I didn't mean it that way," or "You're being too sensitive." These lies shift the focus away from their actions, making it harder for you to hold them accountable. Another sign of consistent lying is when someone seems too good to be true. For instance, they might exaggerate their accomplishments, claim to have connections they don't, or promise things they can't deliver. This is especially common in professional settings, where someone might lie about their qualifications or experience to gain a position of power. Over time, these lies become more apparent, revealing their true intentions. Evil people also use lies to create division and conflict. For example, they might tell one person, "She said something bad about you," and then tell the other person, "He doesn't trust you." By lying to both parties, they create tension and mistrust, positioning themselves as the only reliable source of information. This tactic is especially harmful in families, workplaces, or close friend groups, where trust is essential. In some cases, their lies are so frequent and bold that they don't even bother trying to hide them. They might say one thing one day and the complete opposite the next, assuming you won't call them out or that you'll let it slide. This level of dishonesty shows a lack of respect for others and a complete disregard for the truth. One example of consistent lying can be seen in scam artists or con people. They use elaborate lies to gain people's trust, often pretending to be someone they're not. For instance, they might claim to represent a charity only to pocket the money for themselves. Their lies are calculated and designed to exploit others' goodwill. Consistent lying isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. It creates an environment of uncertainty where it becomes impossible to know what's real and what's not. This is exactly what evil people want. By keeping you off balance, they maintain control and make it harder for you to protect yourself. 3. Unexplained jealousy. Unexplained jealousy is one of the most toxic signs of evil intentions. When someone cannot handle your success, happiness, or even simple joys, it reveals a darker side of their personality. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they feel threatened or envious, which can lead them to act in ways that undermine or harm you. Jealousy often starts subtly. You might notice them making small, snide remarks when something good happens to you. For example, if you get a promotion at work, they might say, "Must be nice to get all the easy projects handed to you." At first, it might seem like a joke, but over time, these comments become more frequent and less disguised. Their words aren't just playful, they're rooted in resentment. Evil people often mask their jealousy by pretending to be supportive. Imagine a friend who congratulates you on buying a new car, but then adds, "I bet the monthly payments are killing you." Or someone who compliments your relationship but says, "Enjoy it while it lasts." Things like that don't last forever. These comments seem innocent on the surface, but they're laced with bitterness and an attempt to bring you down. Unexplained jealousy can also manifest as sabotage. For instance, if you're working on a big project, they might accidentally forget to pass on important information or make errors that slow you down. In friendships, they might spread rumors or gossip about you, hoping to damage your reputation. These actions aren't random. They're deliberate attempts to level the playing field by pulling you down. This behavior is often rooted in their own insecurities. Instead of being happy for others, they see someone else's success as a reflection of their own shortcomings. For example, if you achieve something they've always wanted, it reminds them of what they don't have. Instead of using this as motivation to improve themselves, they channel their feelings into envy and resentment. Unexplained jealousy can even lead to passive-aggressive behavior. For instance, they might deliberately exclude you from events, withhold important information, or give backhanded compliments. Imagine someone saying, "You look great today, for once." These small actions are meant to chip away at your confidence and make you question your worth. Jealousy often grows stronger when the person feels powerless. They see your achievements as a reminder of what they lack, and instead of focusing on improving themselves, they focus on tearing you down. This negativity can create a toxic environment, whether it's in the workplace, a friendship, or even within your family. Exploitation of vulnerabilities. Exploiting someone's vulnerabilities is a hallmark of evil intentions. When a person deliberately identifies your weaknesses and uses them against you, it's not just manipulative, it's calculated and harmful. This behavior isn't always obvious at first because it often starts with someone gaining your trust, only to twist that trust to their advantage later on. Imagine sharing something deeply personal with someone you believe is a friend. Perhaps you talk about a fear, an insecurity, or a mistake you've made in the past. At the time, they might listen attentively, offering support or reassurance. But later, they bring up that vulnerability in a way that hurts you. For instance, during an argument, they might say, "No wonder you're always scared. You can't handle anything," or "You'll never get past that mistake, will you?" Suddenly, something you trusted them with is being weaponized against you. Evil people often seek out information about you that they can use as leverage. For example, in a work setting, they might notice that you're nervous about public speaking. Instead of encouraging you, they might bring it up in a group setting, saying, "Oh, let's not ask them to present. They hate speaking in front of people." This might seem like a harmless comment, but it's meant to highlight your insecurity and keep you in a vulnerable position. Another tactic is exploiting emotional vulnerabilities. If you're someone who cares deeply for others, they might use that against you by playing on your guilt or empathy. For instance, they might say, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this," or "I can't believe you'd leave me alone when you know how much I'm struggling." These statements aren't about genuine needs, they're about manipulating you into doing what they want. Financial exploitation is another common form of this behavior. Let's say they know you're generous and have a hard time saying no. They might repeatedly borrow money from you, promising to pay it back, but never following through. They count on your kindness and reluctance to confront them, leaving you feeling used and betrayed. Evil people also exploit situational vulnerabilities. For example, if you're going through a tough time, like a breakup, job loss, or illness, they might swoop in pretending to be supportive. They might say things like, "You can always count on me," or "I'll help you get through this." At first, their help seems genuine, but later they use your situation as a way to control or manipulate you. For instance, they might remind you of how much they've done for you, making you feel indebted to them. Example of this behavior is seen in toxic relationships, where one partner takes advantage of the other's insecurities. Imagine a partner who knows you struggle with self-esteem. Instead of building you up, they subtly tear you down, saying things like, "You're lucky I'm with you, no one else would put up with this," or "You should be grateful I'm here." These comments are designed to make you feel dependent on them, even though they're the source of your pain. Evil people also target those who are isolated or lack a strong support system. They know that without a network of friends or family, you're more likely to rely on them. For example, they might discourage you from reaching out to others, saying, "I'm the only one who really understands you," or "No one else cares as much as I do." This isolation gives them more control over your life and makes it harder for you to break free. Vulnerabilities are a natural part of being human, and sharing them is how we build trust and connection. But when someone uses that trust to harm you, it's a clear sign that their intentions are not good. 5. Isolation tactics. Isolation tactics are a dangerous and calculated method used by people with evil intentions to gain control over their targets. By separating you from your support system, friends, family, or even co-workers, they make it easier to manipulate you and harder for you to see their true motives. Isolation can be subtle at first, but over time it becomes one of the most powerful tools they use to dominate your life. At the beginning, the person might frame their behavior as caring or protective. For example, they could say things like, "I just want to spend more time with you," or "I don't trust how your friends treat you. They don't have your best interests at heart." On the surface, these statements might seem thoughtful, but the goal is to plant seeds of doubt about your other relationships. They want you to start questioning the people around you, making you more dependent on them. In some cases, they directly discourage you from seeing others. For instance, they might say, "Do we really have to go to that party? I thought tonight was just for us." Or, "Your family never really supported you, so why bother calling them?" Over time, these comments can lead you to spend less and less time with your loved ones, isolating you without even realizing it. Another tactic they use is creating conflict between you and the people in your life. They might spread rumors, twist your words, or share private information to make others distrust you. For example, they might tell your best friend, "I heard them say they're getting tired of your friendship," or tell your family, "They feel like you're too controlling." These lies create tension and distance, making it harder for you to rely on the people who care about you. Isolation tactics are often paired with guilt tripping. If you try to spend time with others, they might say things like, "I guess I'm not important to you," or "You're always choosing them over me." These statements make you feel bad for wanting to maintain your other relationships, pushing you further into their control. A common example of isolation tactics can be seen in toxic relationships. Imagine a partner who constantly complains about your friends, saying they're a bad influence or that they don't really care about you. At first, you might brush it off, but over time, you start to believe them. You stop reaching out to your friends, thinking, maybe they're right, only to realize later that you've been cut off from your entire support system. Evil people also use subtle forms of isolation, such as controlling how you spend your time. For instance, they might monopolize your schedule by insisting on constant communication, texting, calling, or demanding your attention all day. This leaves little room for anyone else in your life, making it harder for you to maintain other connections. Workplace isolation is another way this behavior can manifest. A manipulative coworker or boss might exclude you from important meetings, withhold information, or spread rumors to damage your reputation. Over time, this creates a sense of isolation, leaving you feeling unsupported and vulnerable in your professional environment. Isolation doesn't always happen overnight. It's often a gradual process. At first, you might not even notice the distance growing between you and your friends or family, but as the person gains more control, you start to feel more alone and dependent on them. This is exactly what they want. Without a support system, you're less likely to challenge their behavior or recognize their harmful intentions. The emotional impact of isolation can be devastating. It can leave you feeling lonely, helpless, and cut off from the people who care about you. You might start to believe that no one else understands you, or that you don't deserve better relationships. This makes it even harder to break free from the manipulative person's control. Recognizing isolation tactics is crucial for protecting yourself. Healthy relationships encourage connection and support, not separation. If someone is trying to cut you off from the people who matter to you, it's a clear sign that their intentions are not genuine. Batch 6. Blame shifting. Blame shifting is a powerful tool used by people with evil intentions to avoid accountability and control others. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they find ways to place the blame on you or someone else. This tactic is not only frustrating, but also deeply manipulative, as it forces you to carry the burden of their mistakes or wrongdoings. For example, imagine someone who always has an excuse for their behavior. If they miss an important deadline, they might say, "You didn't remind me," or "The instructions weren't clear." Rather than admitting they dropped the ball, they point the finger at someone else. Over time, this pattern makes it clear that they will never own up to their shortcomings. Evil people often use blame shifting to manipulate your emotions. If you confront them about their behavior, they might respond with statements like, "I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't upset me," or "You're overreacting, it's not a big deal." These responses not only deflect responsibility, but also make you question whether you're the one at fault. In relationships, blame shifting can be particularly damaging. Imagine a partner who constantly accuses you of being the problem, even when they're clearly in the wrong. For instance, if they're caught lying, they might say, "Well, you're the one who made me feel like I couldn't be honest." This manipulative tactic turns the focus away from their actions and places it squarely on you. One of the most insidious aspects of blame shifting is how it erodes your self-confidence. Over time, you might start to believe their accusations, thinking, "Maybe I really am the problem," or "Maybe I did deserve that." This self-doubt gives them even more control as you become less likely to stand up for yourself or question their behavior. Blame shifting also creates a toxic environment in group settings, such as workplaces or families. For example, a coworker who makes a mistake on a project might say, "I only messed up because you didn't give me enough time." Or, I wouldn't have made that error if the team had done their part. By pointing fingers at others, they avoid facing the consequences of their actions while creating division and mistrust within the group. Evil people are also skilled at using blame shifting to maintain their image. For instance, if they're confronted about a lie or betrayal, they might say, "I didn't have a choice. It was the only way to protect myself." Or, "I did it because no one else was helping." These justifications make their actions seem reasonable, even when they're clearly harmful. Another example of blame shifting is seen in friendships where one person always positions themselves as the victim. Imagine a friend who says, "I wouldn't have said that if you weren't so sensitive," or "You're always making things harder for me." These statements are designed to make you feel guilty even when their behavior is the real issue. This tactic is often paired with gaslighting, where they make you question your perception of events. For example, if you call them out on something, they might say, "That's not how it happened," or "You're remembering it wrong." This combination of blame shifting and gaslighting creates confusion, making it harder for you to hold them accountable. Blame shifting can also be subtle. Sometimes it's as simple as a shrug and a dismissive comment like, "It's not my fault," or "What did you expect me to do?" These small, repeated actions send the message that they're unwilling to take responsibility for anything, no matter how minor. The emotional toll of dealing with someone who constantly shifts blame can be significant. You might find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do, trying to fix problems that aren't your fault, or walking on eggshells to avoid further accusations. This dynamic is draining and unsustainable, leaving you feeling powerless and unheard. Recognizing blame shifting is essential for protecting your emotional well-being. A healthy relationship, whether personal or professional, is built on accountability and mutual respect. If someone consistently refuses to take responsibility for their actions, it's a clear sign that their intentions are not genuine. Protecting yourself from harmful intentions starts with awareness. The signs we've discussed aren't just warnings. They're tools to help you recognize when someone might not have your best interests at heart. Remember, your peace of mind, happiness, and well-being are worth protecting at all costs. The more you understand these signs, the more empowered you become to surround yourself with genuine, supportive people. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights and experiences can help others who might be facing similar situations. And of course, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss valuable content like this. Let's continue to grow and learn every day.